Hello students, in the Age of Industrialization Part 3, we are going to learn about transportation industry, communication, agricultural revolution and the impact of industrialization on British India. Industrial revolution increased the production of goods. This large-scale production of goods now needed to be sold in distant markets. The available means of transport could not cope with the new demand and hence the need was felt to improve the existing means of transport and discover the new ones. Roadways, waterways and railways were developed during the 18th century in England. Roads were developed in England during the last half of the 18th century when John Macadam had discovered a new process of road building called as the macadamized roads. He used a mud binder between the two layers of stones to hold them together. Mud was later on replaced with tar. These hard surface roads could tolerate the burden of large-scale transportation. The building of canals and the use of steam power to operate the locomotives had revolutionized the use of waterways as a means of transport. In 1761, the first canal was dug from Worsley to Manchester to carry coal from the mines to the furnaces. Robert Fulton discovered the first steamboat called Claremont. This was a boon for the industry because now the raw materials and the finished goods could be easily transported from the place of their availability to the place of the production and distribution. The railways went on a long way in finding solutions to the problems faced by the transportation of goods by the waterways and the roadways. This was possible due to the first steam locomotive rocket, which was invented by George Stephenson. In 1830, the first railway line was laid between Manchester and Liverpool. The railways were economical and faster than the other means of transport. Soon, a network of railways were established in England and America. Even in India, in 1853, the first railway line was laid by Lord Dalhousie. Long-distance communication was possible due to the invention of telephone by Alexander Graham Bell, the discovery of wireless telegraphy by Guglielmo Marconi, and the idea of the penny post by Rowland Hills. Now let us see what is agricultural revolution. The changes in the condition of the cultivation of land, which is termed as agricultural revolution, is also considered as a part of the industrial revolution. The agricultural revolution had included many things like the introduction of new machines, new crops, drainage of wastelands, use of fertilizers, and improvement in stock breeding. Jethro Tull started the scientific cultivation of the crops and invented a seed drill and a horsepower hoeing machine for cultivation. Townshend invented the system of crop rotation. According to this system, different crops were grown alternatively to maintain the fertility of the land. The use of the new techniques in agriculture increased the quality and the quantity of the food grains. The use of new crops, use of fertilizers, the system of drainage of wastelands benefited the farmers. The use of scientific knowledge helped the farmers to produce more with less efforts. But these new efforts could be used only on large farms, and this led to the enclosure movement. Thus, a large number of farmers were displaced from their lands. They then moved on to the urban areas for employment. Coming to the impact of industrialization on British India, we are going to see how industrialization affects Indian economy due to introduction of railways, encouragement to cash crops and closure of handicraft industries. The colonial rule had adversely affected the Indian economy. It transformed the traditionally rich economy into an economy which served the selfish interest of the British. The British used their political supremacy to exploit the raw resources of India. Like the other colonies, India now became a place from where the British producers could purchase the raw materials at low prices and sell their goods produced in England at higher prices in Indian markets. Thus, India now became an exporter of raw materials instead of an exporter of the finished goods, as it was in the pre-colonial India. It is said that the British industries were fed with the raw materials from India. The introduction of the railways in India further dealt a death blow to the Indian economy. Now it was possible to buy the raw materials even from the remote areas of the country. Besides this, it became more expensive to transport the Indian goods through the railways because they had to pay a higher charge for it. Thus it increased the prices of the Indian goods, which in turn decreased the demand for them. The British government encouraged the production of those crops which were needed by the British manufacturers, such as cotton, tea, coffee, and indigo. This decreased the production of the crops for consumption, since crops were now produced for commercial purposes. As a result of the British policies, a number of traditional handicraft industries had to be closed down, and a number of prosperous cities such as Dhaka, Murshidabad, and Surat lost their ancient glory. This deindustrialization also led to large-scale poverty among the Indians. A large number of the unemployed artisans were now forced to revert back to agriculture. This led to the overcrowding of agriculture, which was already in a backward stage. Thus, it is rightly said that the British industrialization was brought about at the cost of India. In the next part, we are going to talk about the effects of the Industrial Revolution. Thank you.